Welcome back to the Final K. It is one more race day until the Tour of Flanders. It is the Dwars Vlaanderen. It is happening this Wednesday, so I'm going to give a preview of the race as well as 5 riders to keep an eye out on. And as usual, I will be live for this race on Wednesday if you would like to come and join me. This is the race profile here. Along the bottom of your screen, you're going to see all of the climbs and cobble sectors that they're going to have to do this year. There are 12 climbs as well as 11 cobble sectors. Some of them cobble sectors are on the climb, so it's sort of like a 2-for-1. But the race itself, 185 kilometers long. Some of the climbs are going to hit at this year's race are the Hellstraat, the Nocteberg, the Eichenberg, the Norkere. Some of the other ones I'm not even going to try and pronounce. The cobbles don't even, not a mission. I'm going to try and pronounce them, but you will see them at some point along the bottom of the screen. If we compare this to last year's race, this year's going to have 2 more climbs compared to last year, but the same amount of cobble sectors, so more climbing, same amount of cobbles. Just whilst we're on it, if you are a Visma fan, you might want to skip this bit, but it probably will be mentioned later on. On the topic of last year's race, it was probably one of the biggest upsets of the year with Paulez winning, with the 3 Visma riders coming in behind, but just thought I would get that out of the way. The climbs start 47 kilometers into the race and they finish with 10 kilometers to go, so that is quite a lot of climbs and cobbles to deal with in that sector of the race. In the past 5 editions of this race, 3 of the winners have come across the finish line on their own. As well as that, in the past 5 editions, 3 of the winners have also attacked in the final 10 kilometres of this race. One of them attacked about 50, 60 kilometres out, something like that. It was Dylan van Baarle, I can't remember the exact, but it is a race where you're going to see a lot of attacks, a lot of splits, and a most likely, a single rider, maybe 2, 3, going over the line at the same time. The past 5 winners of this race, we've seen Dylan van Baarle take it in 2021, Mathieu van der Poel took it in 2022, Christophe Laporte in 2023, Matteo Jorgensen 2024, and then we see Neilson Paulus take it in 2025. So someone from the United States has taken it in the past 2 years, or we're going to see someone from the United States take it again for the 3rd time in a row this year. So now we've had a look at the race, let's move on to the riders to watch at this year's Dwars Vlaanderen. As you can see, 2025's winner, Neilson Paulus, he is not defending champion as he is not riding it this year. He rode the Tour de la Provence there earlier in the year and he abandoned in stage 3. He had a knee injury, so he did, and he got an operation on it, so he's completely out of, I think he's out indefinitely. They don't even have a return date for him, so yeah, hopefully he comes back soon, but he is not going to be riding and defending his champion at the Dwars Vlaanderen. So the first rider to watch at this year's Dwars Vlaanderen is Jonas Abrahamsen. Abrahamsen rode this race last year, but he had to abandon the race, but he first rode it in 2024, which seen him get 2nd in it. But this year, like I've mentioned before, he has been very eager to get in breakaways. We've seen him do it a couple of times at the Tirreno. The most successful one was in the final stage at the Tirreno, where he ended up being caught 1 kilometre to the finish line. He seemed to have found himself in a lot better form in the past week, with his most notable performance coming on Friday there at E3, where himself, Hagenez and Vermeersch all attacked out of the peloton to chase down Mathieu van der Poel, and they got within 1 second of catching him. I think in the final couple kilometres, Abrahamsen was done. Like, he came last in the sprint in his group. He ended up getting 5th, but it was a brilliant ride from himself. And then on Sunday there in Gent-Wevelgem, he ended up getting 9th, so he did, in a bunch sprint. So another top 10 at a Belgian Classic in the World Tour race. The second rider to watch at this year's Dwars Vlaanderen is someone completely under the radar and came out of nowhere and has been brilliant in attacking and breakaways. It is Alex Segaert at Barry and Victorious. So we got 10th at this race last year, but that is not the reason I've got him on this list. I've got him on this list because of his form in the past 2 weeks. So 2 weeks ago, we've seen him attack at Norkere and they end up getting caught 1 kilometre to the finish line. The next day at the Grand Prix de Denon, he did the exact same thing. He attacked out. I think he went with Hagenez from Visma, but Hagenez attacked him, then he caught back up and then attacked Hagenez. He ended up winning the Grand Prix de Denon, so that's 2 days in a row he went out and attacked and caught with 1 kilometre, then he won the next one, so he did that. He then rode both E3 and Gent-Wevelgem. I didn't hear much mention in E3, he got 23rd in it, but then in Gent-Wevelgem, he didn't get a good result in it. I think he came he was definitely top 40, but in the final 5 kilometre when Van der Poel and Wout van Aert were out the front, I don't think it was maybe 4-3, something like that, but he attacks out the front of the peloton and bridges across the Wout van Aert and Van der Poel. I was watching, I thought, no way Alex Segaert is doing that. He's attacking again. And he like I said, he bridged across the Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert. They got caught again. I take that back. He didn't get caught with 1 kilometre to go in the Norkere. He got caught with, I think it was 100 metres to go, so it was. But this time he gets caught 1 kilometre to go in the in Gent-Wevelgem, and he gets top 40, but he's another one like Jonas Abrahamsen to watch for on the attacks and the breakaways. So keep an eye on Alex Segart at Dwars Vlaanderen. The third rider to watch at this year's Dwars Vlaanderen is Roman Gregoire. So it's his first time riding this race, and it's pretty much his first time riding every Cobble Classic, because this seems to be the season where Groupama have sent him to the Cobble Classics. He rode E3, he's riding this, and he's riding the Tour of Flanders. But so far this season, he has been brilliant. We've seen him win the Vlaanderen Classic. He got second at Trofeo. He then went to Strade Bianche and got fourth behind Sexas, Del Toro, and Pogacar. So he got a top 5 in that, which was brilliant. He then went to the Milan San Remo. He was one of my riders to watch. He didn't do as well as I expected. When Pogacar attacked last year, he latched onto the back of Van der Poel. Ghana was the only one able to hold on, but he didn't hold on for long enough. But he got 18th at this year's Milan San Remo, which is still a brilliant result. And then more recently there at E3, he ended up getting 29th. He finished in the peloton group, 24 seconds down on Van der Poel and the others. He finished comfortably there, and I'd seen him a few times at the front of the peloton trying to attack out of it. Didn't really go anywhere, but it was good to see him trying to attack out of it, and he was still in the peloton on a Cobble Classic. But with his attacking and breakaway speciality so far this season, like we've seen in the Vlaanderen, the Trofeo, the Strade Bianche, and then him trying to attack in E3, I think for Dwars Vlaanderen, he is definitely one to watch, and he's one of my riders I'm keeping an eye on quite a lot in this race. Well, I'm hoping he does attack, but he's one of the riders that I am really high on for this race, just because when it does split, it is very hilly. He's proved he can keep up with the peloton in a Cobble Classic. It's just whether he can go out on the attack now and hold it with the other riders. So definitely one to watch at this race. So before I move on to the top 2, I want to give a couple honourable mentions. Yes, I've got honourable mentions this time. I've got 3 on it, so I do. So first one's not really a single. It's the Visma team. So they've got Christophe Laporte and Hagenez, as well as Brennan. But Christophe Laporte and Hagenez are the ones I want to focus on. Laporte obviously getting 7th at E3 and 3rd at Gent-Wevelgem. Hagenez gets 2nd at E3 after a massive performance. So there are 2 riders to keep an eye on. Next up is Stan de Wolf of Decathlon. Massive ride at E3. He was in the breakaway all day. Then Van der Poel attacked, got onto the breakaway. Van der Poel attacks, I think it was the Paterberg. It was one of the Cobble sectors on it. He attacked. Stan de Wolf was the only one able to go with him. Then when Florian Vermeersch, Hagenez and Abrahamson all attacked, obviously Stan de Wolf got dropped by Van der Poel, but when the 3 of those attacked, Stan de Wolf latched onto the back of their group and was able to ride it to the finish, and he ended up getting 4th at E3. That was a massive performance from him, so definitely one that, well, Sebastian Andreasen is also riding it, so I don't know if he's going to be let off the leash and allowed to do something, or he's going to be working for Andreasen. We'll have to see, but if not, he's definitely one to keep an eye on. And then last up is Jeno Berkmoes from Lotto Intermarché. His past 3 races have been very, very good. He got 11th at Milan San Remo. He got 13th at E3. And then most recently there, he got 11th again at Gent-Wevelgem. So the top 2 riders to watch at this year's Dwars Vlaanderen, the first of these top 2 is going to be Florian Vermeersch of UAE Emirates. Now, I spoke about Vermeersch in my E3 video, and I have a feeling I'm going to be speaking about him in near enough every video from now to the Paris-Roubaix, but he has to be mentioned in this. Now, he's making his return to this race for the first time since 2022, and this season, 3rd at Omloop, he went with Van der Poel. Van der Poel attacked, he wasn't able to hold the wheel, he ended up getting 3rd, but more recently, in E3 and Gent-Wevelgem, both yet again very, very good performances. In E3, like I've mentioned a couple times already, he attacked with Hagenez and Abrahamson, and he was brilliant. He was the last person to take a turn before, when they were 1 second off Van der Poel, so he was the last person to take a turn. He looked over his shoulder, no one else wanted to take a turn, so he threw the head up, but he ended up settling for 3rd. He got 2nd in the sprint, but 3rd in the race. But it was a very good performance from him. And then we seen it again Gent-Wevelgem, when Wout van Aert and Van der Poel both attacked. He was the only one able to go with them. They then made it to the breakaway. When Van der Poel attacked again, Van der Poel attacked rather than Wout van Aert. Wout van Aert was the only one able to go. Vermeersch dropped off them, but he was on his own, chasing them down. And it genuinely thought he was going to catch up to them. He made the gap down to 10 seconds from riding on his own to chasing them too. And then he got swallowed by the peloton, and then obviously I can't remember what result he got, but very, very good from Vermeersch this last week, so definitely 100% one to watch. Now the last rider to watch at this year's Dwars Vlaanderen, quite similar to my Gent-Wevelgem riders to watch video. If you haven't guessed it already, I don't know how, but it is Wout van Aert. Now, like I said about Vermeersch, he's probably going to be spoken about on this channel from now to Roubaix, but he's coming to this race with redemption in his eyes, and rightly so after what happened last year. Very, very embarrassing for Visma. after what happened last year, but with how good he looked on Sunday, 100% redemption he's looking for. Now, I spoke about him in my last video, but if this is your first time watching, I will give a brief explanation on why you should watch Wout van Aert. So he broke his ankle at the start of the year, was meant to return at Omloop, got ill, never returned at Omloop. He then returned the next week at Semen on Wednesday, got a puncture out of that. Then he went to Strade Bianche, got top 10, which was very surprising to see. Then went to the Tirreno Adriatico, looked very strong in it, both individually and as a teammate. Then went to Milan San Remo after that, crashed in Milan San Remo, 35k to go. He got third, he got podium at Milan San Remo, which I still think is nuts. But now onto more recent stuff. This Sunday, Gent-Wevelgem, he was meant to ride E3, pulled out because he got the podium at Milan San Remo, so he rode Gent-Wevelgem instead. He was my favourite for the day. He attacked like I thought he would. Van de Poel followed, sort of Vermeersch, like I said. But then Van de Poel attacked. Wout van Aert was the only one to follow. It was the both of them, 1-2, taking their turns. I will note they weren't riding 100%, like full whack. So don't know what was going on there, but they both got caught 1 kilometre to go. So we never seen the sprint between Van de Poel and Wout van Aert. I was gutted, but it was a massive a performance you would have wanted to see from Wout van Aert. And I think everyone who is a Wout van Aert fan or likes him as a cyclist was very happy with the performance he gave. And going into Dwars door Vlaanderen, like I said, second last year, he's looking for that redemption, and I think it is very, very likely he will get it with this form. So yeah, what riders are you watching at this year's Dwars door Vlaanderen, and who do you think is going to win it? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. We are at 213 subscribers. The support at the moment, especially last week at the Volta Catalunya as well as the Belgian Classics, was unreal, so I appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much. Like I said, I will be live for this on Wednesday, and obviously Tour of Flanders at the end of the week. But yeah, don't forget to like. It does, I do appreciate it. It does help a lot. Don't forget to subscribe. But thank you for watching The Final K, and all the best.